Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to those who are logged in on Zoom as well as those who are logging into YouTube right now. Welcome to Shyamananda Prabhu, one of the senior most brahmacharis or monks from ISKCON Chowpatty Temple in Mumbai. Shyamananda Prabhu is a very dear friend and guide to folks at the Bhakti Center. Pre-pandemic, he used to be here regularly as a service, and even though he's actually one of the most revered and senior people in Chowpatty, he would always be humbly in the background doing all kinds of menial seva and just assisting with things at the Bhakti Center. And one thing that I noticed about him and I really admire, I someday wish to follow and in his footsteps on that, is he never gives advice unless he's asked for it. Even though he may have so many pearls of wisdom. And apart from his humility, he's also got considerable amounts of scriptural and managerial and temple achievements, which would take frankly a long time. So I'm not going to go into all those, but he has led the translation and been part of the translation of Srila Prabhupada's books into Marathi, and now is working on Prabhupada Lilamrita's translation into Marathi, as well as the translation of Giriraj Swami's new book, I'll Build You a Temple, into Hindi. Besides which, he's been involved as temple president at Chowpatty for many, many years. And so many devotees look up to him as a mentor and guide. I'm very glad to welcome you, Shyamananda Prabhu, and please enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So just a moment, I will start my screen here. Yes. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is 9th canto, 19th chapter, and texts 27 and 28, which we shall be discussing today. Sa sannivasam suridam prapayam iva gacchatam vijñayascharat tatranam maya virachitam prabhu sarvatra suram uttrijya swapnopamyena bhargavi krishne manas samaveshya vyathulnolingam atmanah. This kind of wraps up the story of Devayani, Sharmishtha, and King Yayati. So today's translation and purport is as follows. Thereafter, Devayani, the daughter of Shukracharya, understood that the materialistic association of husband, friends, and relatives is like the association in a hotel full of tourists. The relationships of society, friendship, and love are created by the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly as in a dream. By the grace of Krishna, Devayani gave up her imaginary position in the material world. Completely fixing her mind upon Krishna, she achieved liberation from the gross and subtle bodies. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One should be convinced that he is a spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman, Krishna, but has somehow or other been entrapped by the material coverings of the gross and subtle bodies consisting of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. One should know that the association of society, friendship, love, nationalism, religion, and so on are nothing but creations of Maya. One's only business is to become Krishna conscious and render service unto Krishna as extensively as possible for a living being. In this way, one is liberated from material bondage. By the grace of Krishna, Devayani attained this state through the instructions of her husband. So, in my notes, I have 3 basic divisions of this purport, and I'll try to follow that in serial order. So, first of all, this word really helped me, intrigued me, sometimes confused me. And that word is somehow. And this is the first line. Prabhupada is beginning his purport by saying, one should be convinced that he is a spirit soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman Krishna, but has somehow or other been entrapped by the material coverings of the gross and subtle bodies. Now, I'll explain why I said this word has comforted as well as confused me. The real philosophical import of somehow, in my experience, came when I read Lord Chaitanya's prayers. Ai nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja sthita dhuli sadrim vichintaya. Ai is like a call. Oh son of Nanda Maharaj. Ai Nanda Tanuja, Kinkaram, I am your lost servant. And Prabhupada renders the same word there, somehow or other. Now, what's that somehow or other? Well, it means inconceivable. So here is a imaginary dialogue which I play in my mind, but I also seen this in real action, sometimes in my life, sometimes in other preachers' life. That somebody comes and says, Prabhu, I have a question. Yes. You said something is inconceivable. Oh, yeah. How do I understand it? We say, well, you can understand it through this way, that way. No, but it is inconceivable. Can you help me understand it? So after many years of wrestling with this topic, I am sharing with you something. Please see whether this also resonates in your life or your experience. What this Prabhu or what this lady is trying to tell me is, this is something achintya. Chintan is contemplation. In real street language, Mumbai street language or New York street language, is to catch somebody by their collar. Like when you say, hey, listen, you need to do this, okay? So that's how you grasp something, you catch something. So Chintan, Kalpana, Kalpitam, which are other favorite words used in the Srimad Bhagavatam to grasp something. Aprameyam, which cannot be again thought about. So someone is telling me there is something which cannot be caught by the mind and the intellect. Okay? You please catch it with your mind and intellect. And then help me catch it with my mind and intellect. Now, this is kind of a double impossible situation, isn't it? I am not able to understand something, and then I have to give it some kind of a form, and then help you catch it with your mind and intellect. So, it's like this is a joke. A man goes into a bookstore and said to the lady over there, can you help me find the self-help section? And she says, oh, if I did, it would defeat the purpose, won't it? If it is self-help, you're supposed to do it yourself. So anyway, there are self-help books are a multi-billion-dollar industry and they are very sacred. Many of our devotees are also entered the fray and they are preaching in a big way. So I don't find anything wrong in that. It's a market and you have to go there and give goods which look like what they are accustomed to. But friends, why should Prabhupada, who has a knack of giving everything right on a platter, The way Prabhupada Krishna is like he has given Krishna a platter and you just need to accept it. So why would some things are like deliberately kept away from you and me? The sundry devotees, you and me are like the masses, right? We are not here to make a big dent in Maya's world. We are here to just somehow eke out a living in Maya's kingdom and somehow make the best use of our time. So whenever, now this is how I deal with it. Whenever I see something somehow or other, it means there is a way in which something has happened. But right now, I may not be able to understand. There is a example in Indian folklore that a person got pushed into a well and he didn't realize that he doesn't know how to swim well. So he's shouting, help, help, help. And then passers-by come and somebody says, let's throw a rope. And somebody throws a rope and he says, catch it, catch it. What if he says, first of all, tell me who pushed me in. Only then I'm going to catch it. Well, that's impractical. Catch the rope, come out of your current calamity, be stable. You have enough time to understand how exactly someone pushed you and even who pushed you. So we are kind of fallen in the well. I like the example given by Devamrit Swami Maharaj. He said, get up, we all get up in the morning, go in front of your bathroom mirror. Excuse me. If you have a full length mirror, it's even better. And if you see a material body, it means you made a mistake. So we may not understand some esoteric principles behind how things happen. But hey, my body is material. My body is growing old. My body is getting diseased. And my body is going to die. Isn't that a reality? So, of the three parts of our discussion, the first is how to deal with something which is inconceivable. And now there are devotees who utilize a lot of their time into understanding from where did we come from? Was it Brahmajyoti? Was it Vaikuntha Loka? It cannot be Krishna's pastime because nobody falls from that. Nobody falls from Vaikuntha. Oh, but we did. And then what do we do? I'm not a philosopher. I'm nobody, in fact. I'm just trying to make sense of Krishna consciousness in my life. Fallen I am, for sure. From where? I may be able to find out. I may not be able to find out. But then does it matter? Right now in my life, does it matter where I came from? Like somebody's gone bankrupt. Does it matter whether it was the market upheavals, government policy, competition, backstabbing in his own company? What exactly caused this big financial loss? Was it financial incompetency on his part? Well, if you say, I would like to hire a consultant and for $30,000, he can give me an exact assessment of what happened. I just don't have that much money now. I just need to accept that I am financially bankrupt and I need help. So I have found out that those devotees who understand they are fallen, like we all say, of course, it is ISKCON lingo to say, Prabhu, I am so fallen. Well, to realize I am fallen and live accordingly, it's a different ball game altogether. So we end the first part here that we made a mistake, and that mistake is the gross body, which Prabhupada makes it very clear here. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. I have just read enough of Greek and European philosophy. Okay, I've just wet my toes. I'm not a swimmer, but just wet my toes, so to say. And I was the first thing which hit me is, okay, these are the 5 gross elements, and there are the 3 subtle elements. How much could Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and then all the who's who, the doyens of Western philosophical thought, how many did they get right? You could be surprised. They understood that earth, wow, earth is there, water, fire. After that, nothing. They couldn't go to air and ether. Mind, some of them got the mind correct. Yeah, the mind is a tricky place. Intellect, well, a little bit mixed up. And nothing about the ego. And absolutely nothing about the soul, although they speak of soul, soul music, soul food. And here we have Bhagavad-Gita straight away, as I said, on a platter. 5 gross, 3 subtle, that's it. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu, khammano buddhirev cha, ahankara iti yamme binna prakriti rashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. These, O Arjuna, comprise my 8. Now, hear carefully. Separated material energies. The emphasis is on the word separated. They are not me in one sense. You won't find me so easily within this mess of 8 energies. You have to do some work for that because they are bhinna. 1 or 2 examples which are my favorites. Prabhupada said cow's milk is her energy. And when it comes out of her body, it becomes a separated energy. A musical performance, you have the best rock singer, and then you are hearing him on Spotify or iTunes or whatever. And we say, who's that? Oh, that's Michael Jackson. Who's that? That's the Beatles. Whatever. That's not Michael Jackson. That's his voice. The soul which was living in that body is already gone. Gone where? Who knows? Like Prabhupada looked at Ambarish Ford, Alfred Ford, the third junior or whatever, the great grandson. And he said, oh, so you are the great grandson of Henry Ford? And he said, yes. Where is he? And he was already living in a commune. He was trying to understand Oriental wisdom. And he said, just one question made me think so much. Where is that man who's supposed to be the main engine behind the auto revolution in America and so famous and so on and so forth? So similarly, a musical performer, you hear his music and go on YouTube, you'll find people saying, he's immortal, he will never die. He will always live through his music. Sorry to disappoint you, but he's nowhere now. His energy is there. And if you want, you can make a compromise and say, well, that's him. You can see a statue of a dead leader and say, well, that's him. The communists have preserved the body of Lenin and say, that's him. Like once they asked, how is Lenin's mausoleum? I mean, how is he doing? And they say, he's doing fine. There is no he there. There is a conglomeration of metal elements somehow forcibly kept together by some chemical composition. Now he looks like Lenin. See the photograph, see the person lying there, but he's not there. So materially speaking, you and the separated energy, once the connection is gone, it's gone forever. But with Krishna and his material energy, there is a connection. Now, Krishna is not entangled in his own energy. Like a spider is not controlled by his own web. Yatha urna nabhi, that's the Bhagavatam example. So, to round up this point, we need to come out of the creation of these 8 energies. How do we do that? My second of the 3 points today. Well, this is where you almost feel like Prabhupada is punching you on the nose. I feel like, oh, Prabhupada, it hurts. Let's see what he's saying today. Association of society, friendship, love. Now, society, friendship, love, there's a poem by a famous British poet. Maybe Prabhupada was taught that in school. So therefore, in Bhagavatam purports, it always comes, society, friendship, love, society, friendship, love. Today, Prabhupada is going much farther. What he's saying is, society, friendship, love, nationalism. Well, understood? Little bit. Many times you feel, no, I am a full-blooded Italian, or I'm a full-blooded Spanish or American or Hindu, whatever. Friends, Prabhupada has added religion also today. Society, friendship, love, nationalism, religion, and so on. And whatever this 8 elements can conjure. And Prabhupada is giving the final blow. They are nothing but creations of Maya. Oh, Maya? My friends, my Rotary Club, my Lions Club, my this club, the place where I was born in India, there is so much of thing about community, and this is the village where I was born. I hail from this village. And the famous Bollywood dialogue that somebody would say about his son, my blood flows through his veins. So there is family. And here's Prabhupada saying, sorry, these are all creations of Maya. And Maya means, so we should give up Maya. How do you do that? We don't have so much time to go extensively here. I will tell you what I do with some concepts. I just keep them at the back of my mind. Like devotees, not devotees, people who like to read books, and if they cannot read all of them together, they just make a TBR pile. It's a very famous lingo among book readers. TBR means to be read. I kept the book in a place where I know that I have to pick it up and read one day. So I see this as I need to give it up. I need to give it up. I need to give it up. But as you and all of us know, just because saying something, we cannot give it up. And there is a South Indian example of a guru being asked by his disciple, Guru Maharaj, please explain to me in practical terms what is Maya. He said, I will one day. Guru Maharaj, please explain to me what is Maya. I will. The third time he asked, the Guru is on his way to his morning bath. And he says to his disciple, hold this water pot, hold my clothes. And then the Guru goes and embraces the tree. And the disciple is confused what exactly he's doing. And then he says, release me. Oh, tree, please release me. So after hearing his Guru shout like that, he says, well, in all humility, Guru Maharaj, the tree has not caught you. You have to give up the embrace. And then the Guru suddenly sternly looked in his eyes and said, so you got your answer. He said, oh, you mean to say that Maya has not caught me, but I have embraced her. The Guru didn't say anything. It is something you have to understand on your own. So, the third point and the final point of our discussion, the last 5 minutes. This is the balancing thing. This is the solace. I really appreciate these words of Prabhupada. This is the 9th canto. Prabhupada is almost on the way to kind of finish off his Bhagavatam translation. 9th canto ends, 13 chapters of 10th canto, and that's what Prabhupada gave us directly. The third point is render service as extensively as possible for a living entity. For the sake of my convenience, I am reading it like, hey, Shyamananda, render service as extensively as possible for you, Today is the day you choose what is extensive for me. Don't look at him. Don't look at her. Don't look at them. I just came from a 7-day stay at Radhakund. And the first morning I went for the whole parikrama, Giriraj Govardhan. And I said, wow, I can make it. I didn't take any precautionary measures. I just had a diagnosis of high blood sugar. So that is something which I need to deal with the rest of my life. So the second day, I could not even walk 10 steps before having to sit somewhere. So that was hurting. But you know what was more hurting? To see much older people not walking but running, chanting Radhe Radhe, chanting their mantras. And I was saying, wow, what should I do now? So I said, let me take the dust of their feet. I did that. Didn't help. I chanted. Didn't help. I heard whatever I had taken for Shravanam. That also didn't help. Finally, I just completed halfway. I crossed Manasi Ganga, Kusum Sarovar, Manasi Ganga, the Govardhan market. And I said, enough of me, enough for me. And then I took back the road to Uddhav Kund and back to Radha Kund. And then that day I really kept my feet in hot, not scalding hot, but quite hot water 3 times a day. Somehow I was limping. I was somehow recovered. Now I'm back in Mumbai. And one devotee said, it happens all the time. This was your first time that you wanted to do 2-3 times in a week? I said, yeah, it happens all the time. Your body is just priming up. I said, oh, is that true? I said, how long since you are doing? I asked a close friend. He said, since 2010. Somebody said 2014. Obviously, there has to be a difference between somebody who's doing it for the last 12 years and me, who's a rookie and just trying right now. Hopefully next year, if I do it more than once, if I come across this body, I will explain what progress I have made. But last point, friends, all Prabhupada is asking us is to render service as extensively as possible. Who decides that? Who decides you're not going to eat any grains today? Yashodadullah Prabhu, if you tell your wife, I'm just going to take some soup today, you are the boss. I hope so, you're the boss. I mean, you are, I know that. But she says, no, you promised you'll eat so much. She said, no, I had something and I could not take that. So why not take devotional service also a day as it comes? Our target is to do it as extensively as possible. I'll end with another Prabhupada, a favorite Prabhupada truth. If you're an ant, you need 14 grams. That is already arranged by Krishna. If you're an elephant, you need 140 kilograms. That also is arranged by Krishna. Choose where you are, who you are, do your service, and get out of Maya. If you're an ant, no need to be jealous or no need to even think about why the elephant eats so much. And if you're an elephant, you don't need to look at somebody and saying, oh, it's just a small timer. You be as you are, stay where you are, make a contribution. The target is to get out of Maya, as Devayani did, as Prabhupada explains, with the help of her dear husband. That also means that we as Vaishnavas, we gain strength from each other. In fact, let's have a definition of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is one who gains strength from each other, no matter who the other is. There's a Prabhu, there's a lady, there's a older gent, there's a old woman, there is a newborn baby or whatever. Everybody can help us in some way, gain that strength. And then we can make sense of this. Somehow or other we have fallen, but we know how we get out. It is not like somehow or other we get out. we get out with the grace of Guru and Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai.
Thank you, Shyamananda Prabhu. Short and sweet. And you know what you said earlier, sadly, I only am under the illusion that I'm the boss. Someday I hope to become a Das Anudas, which is my true position. I did have a question as people are preparing their questions or comments. I did have a question, you know, that story that you told about the guru embracing the tree, and then the disciple points out, but the tree is not caught hold of you, you've caught hold of the tree. You know, in relation to how we are the ones who've caught hold of Maya. Sadly, even when we want to give up Maya, her allurements are so strong that unlike the tree, which doesn't, you know, reach out and grasp you, Maya seems to reach out. Every time you untangle one part of Maya from your life, 10 other parts seem to, or we seem to embrace her in 10 other parts. So how to understand that? Because, like, in other words, we're trying to become devotees, but why is the allurement of Maya so strong?
You are correct. It is like the Guru just gave up the embrace. He gave up embracing the tree, and that's it. So there is another example for that. It's just like a mouse. His nose tells him there is some juicy cheese, or there is something, a dried biscuit or a cookie, whatever. And then the focus is only on that edible item. It doesn't have the intelligence that in this dark, dank place, how come there is just this one juicy bit of cheese here? Oh, forget about that. Let me just concentrate on this thing, and then I will deal with the consequences later. So as he tugs at the cheese, snap, there is a sound from behind, and doesn't know that that was a trap. So every time there is something freely available, like happiness just for the taking, free of charge. I think you guys must be bracing up for the big Black Friday deals and everything, right? It's all coming up. This is right in front of you. Statistically, it has been proven that most of the stores, they just get rid of either excess stock or something which is damaged or whatever. Say 1 or 2 out of 10 items are actually at a discount. But look at the way in which people rush. Even moths may be not rushing at that speed into a blazing fire, but we go to buy things. So this is Maya right in front of us. So unless and until we train ourselves, Prabhupada used the word training and culture. So you're right. We keep on falling for deals. We keep on falling for things. We need to have 2 things. We need to have the intellect to Manansi Vichintiya Varam Varam. Shankaracharya talks about this in his Bhajagovindam Upadesh, that the mind needs to be told again and again. But better than that, we need to have an example of somebody doing that. When you have these 2, your own deliberation and a higher example, then it is possible to get slowly out of those entrapments, maybe one at a time.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments?
Yes, Athena has raised her hand.
Hare Krishna, Shyamananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So nice to hear from you after so long. Hope all is well. Oh, wow. What a wonderful class. I love your examples, and you list everything else just so nicely and such a wonderful structure. I don't want to take a little bit of a tangent, but it's okay since we have a little bit of time. You said a few things that just made me think. And I guess the last one too is, what does it mean to be a Vaishnava? And I liked your definition of course, leaning on each other. But I was contemplating actually what it means to be a Vaishnava the other day and having a discussion. And in one sense, it's not just the belief systems, it's also the practices. You say, okay, as a Vaishnava, and this goes into, well, are you a Vaishnava if you you eat meat or you drink alcohol? And that was just a large discussion of like, okay, well, there could be transgressions, or is it, do you actually follow? And it was a very large discussion. But in this discussion actually about what it means to be even a Vaishnava or a Christian or a Muslim, in one sense, it's the belief systems and the practices. One of our fundamental beliefs is, for example, being vegetarian. And it came down to, as I was explaining, well, Prabhupada came and he was trying to also create a certain, he was trying to create, you had heard this word, Brahmins, he wanted to create, as he preached to the West, he was preaching these principles. He wanted everyone to spread Krishna consciousness. And sure, we know the Kshatriyas, they eat meat, but he wanted everyone to be on the platform of Sattva because it's easier to go from Sattva to Shuddha Sattva. And of course, you could go from Rajas and Tamas to Shuddha Sattva, but it's much harder. And there's all these explanations. And of course, we do know that Shastra does list out the 4 regulative principles. But the main thing that I somewhat realized is, it came in discussion, is if God is giving the ultimate word and religion represents, say, what God wants, or he's creating these laws, then it should be absolutely applicable to every single human being, not just a specific sect of society or Varna in one sense. And even something as small as being vegetarian, which is a key point in a key fundamental practice of ours, it seems to neglect, say, those living in Alaska, where it's very hard to be vegetarian. Fishing is their main source of food. And if you do look at, say, the world map on terrain, there are
one sentence. Put it in one sentence, because we don't want to get lost.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, on this point is that Krishna consciousness, the practices seem to neglect. Krishna consciousness seems to be for a very specific sect of people. So therefore, how could it be a religion applicable to everyone, given that a religion is both the beliefs and the practices? And those living in, say, Africa in the desert, it's very hard to follow that vegetarianism. And so therefore, it seems like it is not I don't call it a true religion, but because if God were to create something, it would be applicable to every single person. And it doesn't seem like it can be followed by every single human being. Sorry if that was jumbled. If I made any sense, I can clarify.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Just to make a long thing short, when we say that we are having Krishna consciousness, Krishna is the father of all living beings. So therefore, this has to be applicable to all. What is applicable to all is the destination. The journey will be decided by somebody whom Krishna has sent as an empowered acharya. The scriptures could be having some adjustments, and there will always be adjustments. So, for example, right now you're living in New York City. If you have a choice of vegetarian foodstuffs, which could be cooked, offered to the deities with love and devotion, that's all that is Krishna asking from you. If there is somebody who is, like for example, if you come to India, I'll take you around to one of the 9 Narsimha temples. One Narsimha temple is like a deity of aboriginal tribes there. And they offer some kind of an animal sacrifice. And that has not been stopped to date. I went there and I saw that, they do something like that. So we don't stop it. We don't try to make them like who we are. And they are not coming and staying in our cities. They are staying in that simple forest surrounding. So I will bring that to my own example. I mean, what I started from Prabhupada, you are an ant, you eat your 14 grams, chant Hare Krishna. You are an elephant, you work hard, get your 140 kilos and chant Hare Krishna. So how exactly is Krishna going to preach to some other planet where there are people with even 3 legs or 4 eyes or whatever? Well, if the species are made, Krishna also has made some arrangements for their salvation. We need to oil our own machine, as Prabhupada would say. So you need not look into somebody else's question paper there, why is he not solving that question first or this question first? The rules of which Prabhupada gave, I always see them as a positive rules framework that cultivate mercy, cultivate truth, cultivate cleanliness, and cultivate, what is the third one? Truth, cleanliness, mercy, and
Discipline?
no.
Mustard.
Gosh, our 4 principles, see, you get mixed up. Daya, mercy, satyam, truth. So these are the 4 things. See them from a positive point of view. Focus on the positive. The negative will take care of itself.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Shyamananda
We have, I
Prabhu.
think, 2 minutes left, or maybe I am
Yeah,
over
yeah.
time. I don't know.
Yeah. To Athena's wonderful question, I once heard that Prabhupada, one disciple came up to Srila Prabhupada saying that, Srila Prabhupada, I'm doing the Ekadasi and I can't go out. And Srila Prabhupada told him, no, you have to do what the needful and go out. And or no, I'm confusing it. Srila Prabhupada, I think, was prepared to cook or eat meat or something, or he encouraged his disciples, then eat meat, go out and preach. So meat is not necessarily maybe the obstacle. And I read in Srimad Bhagavatam yesterday, Srila Prabhupada was saying that people don't understand that devotion to Krishna is the religion meant for everyone, including people in the jungles. I just read that. I was trying to look that up and find it, but I couldn't. But I swear to God, it was there. Jungles were mentioned. Athena, rest assured, jungle people are included. And the meat is not an obstacle. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, correct me if I'm wrong, he was making rolling cigarettes for the temple workers, right?
Yeah, there was something that they were taking a break. And he said, no, I just want to expedite the whole thing. They said, no, they want a smoke break. So he said, okay, we will roll. That's the Indian cigarette is called a BD. And he said, okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, so everybody's included, even cigarette smoke.
Yes. Athena, there is a thing called, okay, I'm tempted to say that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our Acharya, says, Nitya Dharma, your daily constitutional duty. Naimittik Dharma, something which has arisen and you need to take care of that. And Apad Dharma, something which has arisen because of a calamity. A person's behavior will be different in all three counts. So basically, I and you, we cannot give somebody permission that, okay, you go and eat that burger and chant Hare Krishna and you'll become a devotee. We don't have that power of attorney. But an empowered Acharya can tell someone, you do this, you chant, and I'll make sure that you come out of Maya. Because the ultimate aim here is Devayani. Just read the 9th canto, what hell Devayani went through. The kind of insults, the kind of fights, the kind of disappointments, her husband becoming a little bit unfaithful to her, and so many things. Isn't that life? Ups and downs and highs and lows and jungles and forests and swamps and seas and deserts. Everything is here in the Bhagavatam. Ultimately, the goal is to come out of Maya. All right, Prabhu, I think my time is up. And wish you all a very great day. Thank you all for serving Shri Radha Mulidhar, Shri Gaurachandra and Vada Narsimha so nicely. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Shyamananda Prabhu. Wonderful to see you and wonderful to hear from you.
Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna. Thank you all.
Hare
See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Shyamananda Prabhu, it
Hare
was
Krishna.
nice to see you after so long. Kev, thank you so much. Yashoda Lal Prabhu, thank you for this wonderful stewardship. Susan, Angel, William, Athena, thanks for your questions, contributions. Isabel, Andrea, Gurkumar, Jatin, Amish, Gail, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, and Bihari Prabhu, for navigating this every day, hosting us. Thank you.
It's my joy. It's the highlight of my day.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.